What's up, y'all? It's Daniel Litwin, the voice of B2B, here at Premio's booth at Embedded World in Austin, Texas. We're doing some Premio product deep dives with the product marketing team. We're joined today by Mr. Colin Wu, who's going to break down the BCO series for us, do a little compare and contrast with some of the other Premio product suites, and of course, understand why this is such an important edge computer for the larger embedded systems ecosystem. So, Colin, great to have you here, man. How you doing?
Doing well. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. The show's been great. We've had a lot of, people come and go, but, overall it's just been, a really, really fun experience to kind of be here and just really showcase what, Premio has and what we have to offer for the overall ecosystem in embedded computing.
Totally, man. No, it's really cool to see all of the, software players, hardware players, the downstream IoT devices that are taking advantage of this ecosystem. And obviously none of that would be possible without the edge computers that often make sense of all of these embedded systems, and then obviously are the engine that power those downstream devices too. So let's learn a little bit more about the BCO series. I love we got our little Colin flyer here. I love that the whole team has their own flyer this year. It's pretty fire. So again, we got the BCO series. Per usual, we're breaking things down with the 1, the 3, and the 6000. So why don't you just start by breaking down the BCO in context of the R and the JCO, right? What makes the BCO series unique in the Premio product suite?
Yeah, so our BCO series really is our x86 semi-rugged industrial computer. This kind of is a line of industrial computers that are really designed for the industrial edge market. I know in our webinar that we spoke about, we talked about the edge continuum, and we kind of broke it down into 3 different buckets. And our BCO fits into that industrial edge that we kind of define in that overall bucket, where it's semi-rugged in design. It has a wide operating temperature from 0 to 50, wide power voltage, and the shock and vibration. But when you compare to like our RCO series that you kind of learned about before, it's not as rugged because we call that our super rugged series. This one is still rugged in design, but it's made in a way to give people in the embedded computing exactly what they need without going above and beyond what they might consider overkill or something like that. So our BCO series is that kind of scalable line with 3 different models, really giving them exactly what they want without that overhead extra costs or anything further. Where they're a little bit cautious about those kind of things. And with the IoT connectivity, the processing is right there. It's jam-packed all in one nice little box, and it's perfect and ruggedized to them.
Huge. Obviously, we're at Embedded World, so I got to know, in the context of this embedded, specialized computing ecosystem, where does the BCO fit in, right? What kind of embedded systems is it taking advantage of, and is it facilitating?
I think one of the biggest key things is we talk about trends a lot, or even key catalysts driving, embedded computing. So AI is maybe one of the biggest important things that, it's probably the hottest topic that everyone's talking about. But in addition to AI, I think for us, for the BCO series, is really about IoT connectivity and also the convergence between operational technology and informational technology. That convergence between data being generated from devices and IoT sensors and different types of processing where OT kind of converges together, it allows an overall solution to really push itself to the next level. That kind of really drives the overall BCO series, because as an embedded computer, it's able to easily fit into an overall kind of solution. It's able to kind of drive itself and just fit so perfectly within any type of industrial automation or factory floor, or even possible AGV, AMR, any kind of AI application. And having that ability to kind of retrofit so seamlessly into the kind of overall solution, I think that's where the BCO really shines.
Well, then let's start to break down some of the key features then here, right? So again, we've got the 1000, the 3000, and the 6000. Per usual, it's gonna increase in size and form factor, but with each increase comes an increase in performance and modularity as well. Obviously, the small guys, though, stay flexible for tight use cases. So let's get into it, right? What are some of the key performance, power, and tech specs for each of these? And we'll start with the 1.
Yeah, so with our 1000, this is, like you said, this is the smallest small factor. This is kind of built around a 3.5-inch single board computer. Okay. And that's, a soldered down CPU with, this one specifically is an Intel Alder Lake N97. So low power efficiency, processing in that SoC chip. And then everything you see on here, on that board, you see on the outside. So the 1000 specifically actually has two models, one with 2 RJ45 LAN and another with 3 RJ45 LAN. And then in addition to that, you have also, high-speed USB, serial comm legacy ports on the back right here, DIO, and also everything else that's really just all there on board for a customer to say like, hey, I don't need expansion. I have everything. You have the LAN ports, you have the serial ports, everything's on there for me. I can easily take this and put it into my solution. And it offers the low power processing and enough performance to kind of drive their whole application, their whole deployment. So the BCO 1000 for those space between applications where they might be a little bit limited on the space, they don't need high processing, they don't need all that, and it's just perfect for them to kind of just put right into that spot.
Love it. So what are some of the use cases then where you see the 1000 really shining? I know obviously the BCO series is more of an industrial line of edge computers. So where in the industrial applications do we need something this small and compact?
Yeah, so I think the biggest use case is going to be some sort of IoT gateway. I think connectivity is really important when it comes to the BCO series, offering that everything on board with some sort of connectivity to whatever kind of IoT devices you need in a small form factor is going to be really, really important. You see a lot of IoT gateways from Intel NUCs all the way to, even potentially even smaller like that. So having this compact form factor that gives you exactly all the type of connectivity you need with whatever types of cameras, sensors, and everything that is going to be generating all your data is the most important thing. And that's 1000's where its bread and butter is being able to be an IoT gateway for all these types of IoT devices.
Huge. All right, well, let's jump over to the 3 now, right? Again, the 3000, we get the middle of the road, a little more modularity, and obviously a little bigger, which means more capabilities, likely stronger processing power, but I won't do your job for you. Break it down for us. What we got here with the 3000?
Of course, so 3000, it's the center, it's the middle, it's this, we call it a small form factor industrial computer. The reason why it's actually really great is that you're getting a step up from the 1000, but you're moving away from a SoC into a socketed type CPU. You're able to take, for us, we're able to take a mini ITX form factor board and put a chassis around it. So you're moving up in processing performance, but still able to maintain a small form factor. So this one in a socketed CPU, similar to kind of how our RC also works, where you're moving from small board into a bigger board, you have that socket type CPU performance in a smaller form factor. But the BCO 3000 itself, it's more IO, more connectivity offered and available on board as well. So very similar to our 1000, but just a really big increase in performance. And some people are going to need that increased performance because they're going to have more IoT sensors, they're going to have more IoT devices, they're going to need some sort of maybe programmable automation with the isolated DIO that you see kind of back here. And in addition, they also have the wireless connectivity, whether they need that kind of thing. So just more options in still a very compact size for the 3000. So it's really very snug in the middle, and it's just really giving just more capabilities from the 1000 as you kind of go up in size.
I love it. So yeah, you get more capabilities, but I like too that you get, again, more modularity with it. Tell us about some of the use cases where that modularity matters, right? Where you can kind of mix and match different, external technology or connections, right, to actually maximize the use of the 3000.
So, I mean, the 3000, it's going to be a lot of potentially it's going to start moving into that, edge AI applications, but, slowly but surely, not full on like AI, inferencing, but there's going to be a lot more applications that it's opened up to, but it's really agnostic because you're never going to know, what someone's going to exactly need. But in the industrial automation space, the 3000 really, fits perfectly, and especially like on a factory floor in the industrial edge market where, it's not extremely harsh environments. People are able to kind of just, have that capability, where it might be a lot of processes going on, right. And the 1000 is not enough to handle everything. So 3000 with that socket type performance is being like, it's like, hey, I'm able to step in because I'm able to offer, a lot of processing and then, space might still be a little limited, but they have the capability to add that in there.
Yeah, very cool. All right, well, last but not least, we've got the big boy, the 6000, right? Maximum in processing capabilities, obviously. It's a little larger. So what kinds of use cases are gonna need this kind of horsepower and size?
Yeah, so the 6000 is really going to be for the AI work deployments. Yeah, because the 6000, the key feature for this one is going to be the ability to have a GPU integration. This is the one that's going to kind of be the counterpart to our RCO 6000 series. But it's not going to be super rugged. It's semi-rugged in design, so it's very unique. And that's there's actually not a lot of other industrial computers on the market that are semi-rugged in design. A little bit more low cost, but still able to have a GPU integrated to help you, push AI applications. Some people may be running some sort of inferencing, maybe running some sort of AI, but they're not going to need like as heavy as an RCO unit or something that's going to be heavy. And BCO kind of really sits in there like, wow, you still be able to fit into some sort of AGV AMI applications or those type of things that you see the RCO tackle as well, but it's still going to be a little bit lower cost, and everything on board that you see from the 3000 to the 6000 is still there. Nothing gets lost, nothing is added. It's all there for you. It's all on board with the actual GPU integration, and that really kind of pushes it to the next level in terms of industrial embedded computer.
So the GPU integration really piques my interest. What are some of the use cases where a GPU is actually needed? I guess visualize, pun intended here for us, those AI use cases where having a graphics processing unit can help make better sense of the data, provide visual insights.
Yeah, so one of the applications I just mentioned, AGV, AMRs, automated mobile robots, like those kind of things really shine when it comes to inferencing with GPU, because the GPU is, has that, the processing to allow you to have, run the inference, run detection and everything. So if it's, for example, an automated robot that's on the factory floor, you don't want it to, bump into things all the time. You want it to make sure that there's anything in the way, it's able to detect it fast, able to detect it immediately, so it can navigate itself, without the guidance of the human interaction. The robot's going to do what it needs to do, and the BCO 6000 with that GPU is going to allow it to operate at this max capacity.
So it opens doors for spatial computing type of applications, I guess.
Most likely, yeah. But it's gonna vary. But it's gonna be very similar to kind of how we describe our RCO 1000. The really big difference is that when we say the semi-rugged versus the super rugged. Semi-rugged in design would still very able to withstand in those harsh environments, but it's not going to be as as ruggedized as the 6000. But being able to kind of be in a space where it's still harsh, where there's still dust, debris, or power fluctuations or anything like that, and still being able to fit a GPU, it's kind of like one big whole package that you're not going to see in a lot of other types of industrial computers.
I like it, and that way there's an option too where you don't have to pay for an extremely rugged solution if you don't actually need one, and you can take advantage of all the processing capabilities and still get that semi-rugged protection, I guess, right? Love it. All right, so as we wrap things up, any other case studies or use cases, it could be from any one of these, that you think really showcases the power of the BCO series and that showcases that right balance of semi-rugged but still incredibly modular and flexible to handle some of the most innovative edge computing use cases out there?
For me, I personally believe for the 1000 itself is going to be that IoT gateway.
Okay, cool.
And for the 3 and the 6 is really going to be an industrial automation application, or some sort of automation deployment. So I mentioned factory floor a lot, because that's where we really see the BCO kind of shining. Because those are places that they're harsh, they're not the most ideal environments, but it's still in a place where it's not outside, remote. So people are able to really kind of use those in those spaces. So in industrial automation, where there's a lot of processing going on, robotic arm doing all kinds of things, it really allows the BCO to just be like, hey, this is the perfect fit for it. And then for obviously IoT gateways in a small constraint space is where the BCO 1000 is going to shine.
Love it. All right, well, you heard it here, folks. The BCO series is ready to help power your IoT connectivity needs and ready to level up your industrial automation game. So, Colin Wu, if folks want to find out a little bit more about the BCO series, where can we point them?
So they can visit our website at premioinc.com. They'll have all information from our BCO series and all our other, embedded solution products on there. And obviously, they can also go to the website and reach out to our salespeople to learn more.
Fantastic, easy peasy. All right, folks, thanks again for tuning in. We've been chatting here with Colin Wu, breaking down the BCO series. Head to Premio Inc., premioinc.com for more information. I'm your host, Daniel Litwin, the voice of B2B. We'll be around here at Embedded World for some more Premio product deep dives.